In this video, we're going to be talking about solving one-step equations. This chart shows that every operation has its opposite operation. The opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of subtraction is addition. The opposite of multiplication is division. And the opposite of division is multiplication. This is what we're going to be using to solve equations. Now, equation states that two expressions are equal. So, for example, in this particular equation, we have n minus 32 equals 5.6, and we want to know what n is. So what we're going to do is, let's take a look at what we have to do to get n by itself. Now, n has 3.2 being subtracted from it. If you want to draw a line down through your equal sign, you can, if that will help you a little bit. So the opposite of subtracting 3.2 is adding 3.2. But that's something that we're going to have to do to both sides of the equation. On each side of the equal sign, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. The negative 3.2 and the positive 3.2 cancel, and we're left with n equals 8.8. Now, to check this, all you're going to do is plug 8.8 in place of n in that equation and see if that really does work. N minus 32 equals 5.6. Is 8.8 minus 3.2 equal to 5.6? Absolutely. That's how we check it. All right, so let's take a look at this one. Negative 6 is equal to k minus 6. We want to get k alone. So we're going to do the opposite of subtracting 6, which is adding 6 to each side. The 6's on the right side cancel. Again, if it helps you to draw a line down through your equal sign so you know which side to do your operations on, that's fine. The 6's cancel, and you have k is equal to negative 6 plus 6 is 0. If you want to check it, which you should, take your equation and plug 0 in place of k. Is 0 minus 6 equal to negative 6? Absolutely, that checks out. So let's keep going. We aren't going to check every single one of them here. I'll leave you to do that. Let's see about solving for m on this problem. 16 equals m minus 9. Draw your line down through. Add 9 to each side because the opposite of subtracting 9 is adding 9. The 9's cancel, and we're left with m equals 25. Okay, y minus 8 equals 24. We want to get y by itself. What's happening to it? 8 is being subtracted from it. So the opposite of subtracting 8 is adding 8. So we end up with y is equal to, because the 8's cancel, 32. Keep going. We want to get z alone. Well, 7/16 is being subtracted from z. If it helps, draw the line. The opposite of subtracting 7/16 is adding 7/16. We add those numbers to both sides. The 7/16 will cancel, and you have z is equal to 12/16. Now you can reduce that, which is a good idea. And we have that z is equal to, you divide each by 4, 3/4. So that is your missing number. Now when you go to check this, you probably want to keep the answer in the form of 12/16, so then your denominators will be the same when you check it. What I'd like you to do is finish the last two problems on this particular page. Let's move on, and we can go over those in class. We have negative 5/11 plus p equals negative 2/11. Well, let's look at what's happening here. We want to get p alone, so we can draw a line down through our equal sign. So we'd like the negative 5/11 to cancel out. Well, the thing is, the only way you can cancel out negative 5/11 is to add 5/11 to each side. So let's do that, if my pen will work. So what we're going to do is add 5/11ths to each side. The negative 5/11ths and positive 5/11ths cancel. And we end up with P equals, well, negative 2/11ths plus 5/11ths is 3/11ths. Next one, we'd like to get D alone. 1/2 is being added to D, so let's do the opposite of adding 1/2, which is subtracting 1/2. The 1/2s cancel, so we have D is equal to, we're subtracting, 1 minus 1/2 is just 1/2. I'd like you to continue to work on the next two problems on your own, and let's do the next one, negative 2.3 plus m equals 7. So we want to get m alone. Now, it's a negative 2.3 here, so next to the m. The only way we can get rid of that is to add 2.3 to each side. That's the only way we can get it to cancel. So we end up with m is equal to 9.3. On this next problem, negative 3/4 plus z equals 5/4. Draw a line down through. We want the negative 3/4 to cancel out because it's on the same side as the z. So the only way we can get it to cancel is to add 3/4 to each side. 3/4 will cancel and we get z equals 8/4, which is the same thing as 2. Now, I do want you to write everything out step by step, just the way I'm doing here. That's very, very important. And I do want you to check your answers. For the sake of time, we're not doing it here in the video, but I do want you to check them. Now I'd like you to try the next one on your own before class. And now we're going to move on to the next problem, this word problem. Over 20 years, the population of a town decreased by 275 people to a population of 850. Write and solve an equation to find the original population. Let's think about it. We want to know what the original population is. So let's call that x. So x, I should probably say, is the original population. Now x, if the original population decreased by 275, that means we subtract 275, and that gave us a population of 850. So there's our equation. Now we want to solve it, so draw a line through the equal sign. We want to get x alone, so we have to do the opposite of subtracting 275, which is adding 275. We want to add these together, 850 plus 275, and we get that x is 1,125. That was the original population of the town. Now the next thing we're going to be doing involving one-step equations is multiplying or dividing. Now, let's say we have this problem, p over 5 equals 10. We want to get p by itself. Well, what's happening to the p? It's being divided by 5. The opposite of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. So let's multiply each side of the equation by 5. You can draw your line through if you want to. The 5's will cancel on the left, and we have p equals 50. Check that. We'll do a check just so you can see how it's done. P over 5 equals 10. We want to know if 50 does work. Well, 50 over 5, when we plug it in, does indeed equal 10. Now, next one. We have negative 5/6 times w equals negative 20. We want to get w alone. The opposite of, and the w is being multiplied by negative 5/6. The opposite of multiplying by negative 5/6 is dividing by negative 5/6. Remember, when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by negative 6 over 5. And that's what we're going to do to each side. That's how you get rid of a fraction in front of a variable. Notice the 6's and the 5's all cancel. And we're left with negative 20 times negative 6/5. Well, put a 1 under the 20. You can cancel the 5 into the negative 20. That goes in negative 4 times. And you are left with negative 4 times negative 6, which gives you positive 24. And I'll leave it to you to check. We have negative 3/10 equals 1/8 z. We want to get rid of the number in front of the z, which is multiplying it. The opposite of multiplying by 1/8 is dividing by 1/8. That's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal on both sides, which is 8 over 1. Notice, on the right-hand side, the 8 and the 1's cancel. We can cancel the 8 and the 10. 8 goes into 8 once. No, I'm sorry. We don't want to divide by 8. We want to divide by 2. The biggest number that'll go into both 8 and 10 is 2. 2 goes into 8 4 times. It goes into 10 5 times. Now we're going to multiply. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. 1 times 5 is 5. So we end up with z equals negative 12/5. I'm going to have you try the next one on your own. Let's go on to this next problem. Negative 8 equals j over 3. J is being divided by 3. So we want to do the opposite of dividing by 3, which is multiplying each side by 3. The 3's will cancel, and we end up with negative 24 equals j. I'll have you try the next one on your own. We have 9y equals 108. We want to get y by itself. So divide everything by 9. Because the 9 was multiplying the y, the opposite of multiplying by 9 is dividing by 9. The 9's will cancel, and we're left with y equals 108 divided by 9 is 12. So y equals 12. 16 equals 4c. We want to get c by itself. It's being multiplied by 4, so we're going to divide each side by 4. The 4's cancel, and c equals 4. I'd like you to try the next two problems on your own. This problem here, 4j over 6 equals 2/3. This is the same thing as having 4/6j equals 2/3. You can write it just like that. Now you know that to get j by itself, you're just going to multiply each side by the reciprocal of 6/4. Or the reciprocal of 4/6, which is 6/4. The 4's and the 6's cancel. We can cancel, the 3 goes into 6 twice, it goes into 3 once. 2 goes into 2 once, goes into 4 twice. So we end up with 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 2 is 2. J is equal to 2 over 2, so j equals 1. The last problem is a word problem. And I'd like you to try this one on your own, and we'll go over it when we come back to class. Thank you very much.